Hi guys, I thought I'd do a little tutorial on night flying since I come across people that seem to have issues getting around at night. Hell, I do at times. So, taking inspiration from World War II, the Great British Dam Busters. They needed a way to drop their bouncing bomb at a precise height above the surface of the dam, the lake, basically at night. And what they came up with is mounting two lights on the wingtips of the B2s, I think it was. I think it was the B2, the bombers anyway, pointing at the ground. Spotlights. And these were angled straight down but slightly inwards, based on Pythagoras' rules, so that when the two light spots combined into one, they were precisely, I think it was 70 feet above the ground, which, well, not ground as such, it was actually water. And they got really accurate indication of how high they were. So I took inspiration and just doing a little test flight here, showing basically a simple thrown together aircraft with lights on the wingtips. Now for this demonstration, I am of course doing it in dusk so you can see a little bit, and you can make out the ground, and you can tell how high you are off the ground. You can see kind of the spots, not quite angled correctly on this, but still you can make out how close you are to the ground, get even very close to the ground, and light everything up as you pass over the space centre. So just going to have a fly around, have a look at the ground. You can tell when you get really low because the lights themselves, you can actually see the beams, which I'm sure you spotted as I passed over the runway. And of course it works over water as well. Now the interesting thing that you're going to want to watch for, which hopefully when I encode this video it will come out in the resolution okay. There we go. You can see the actual bottom of the water underneath the surface, which is kind of cool, but shown that a few times before in videos, so you know what, I think we need to test this out. Ooh, tail lines. They even show up in my preview. So, I'm going to head off towards the mountains now. Yeah, let's do some night flying into the mountains. Why not? Might as well test it properly. It's almost like daytime. There you go, you can see the spots as they're coming up. This isn't exactly the best aircraft for doing this with. It has a turning radius of a rather big tanker. But what can I say, I just threw it together quickly to demonstrate. So as you can see, different altitudes show different patterns on the ground. Hopefully the resolution will come out so you'll be able to see the ground coming up in front of me which even at 200 plus meters per second is just about enough time to pull back and get over the top. Not quite so easy with this thing. It's as I said, turns like a rather big tanker, like QE2. As you can see, full throttle straight for the mountains. Now, it's not normally something that I do at low level, so in this demonstration haven't practiced it. This is my first attempt, as you will shortly see. This is of course normal speed at this point in the video, and I am of course doing a narration. So you can start making out the individual lights there. You can see the beams, and you can see the effect that it has on the ground, and as the ground undulates underneath, you can make that out. So you can adjust your pitch to bring you above it or drop down into a valley. Now there is a little bit of light showing, so you can make out the hills. You know you're coming up to them. Some features in the hills, mountains, you can start making out. You know it's going to start coming up soon, so kind of keeping a little bit extra height so you can get plenty of time to respond to it, etc. Oh, a little bit high there. Now, should be able to make out that we're passing the mountains on the right hand side, like that. So a slight course correction, just bring us along the side of the mountain. Just like that. With tons of lights on, you can make out the side of the mountains, make out the ground, and little bits that stick up. However, there is one thing that will catch you out if you're not careful. Can you work out what it is? Uh-oh! Eject, eject, eject! Too late. Yeah, never saw that coming. I thought it was completely open, and it was only until the light actually caught it that I realised it was pretty much straight up. Now, adapting that principle for a moon hopper. Yeah, we've got a lot more light on this one. There's 18 in total, symmetric, 8 pointing straight down for a dot, and then is there? Yes, 8 horizontal coming out from the nose, and 8 pointing at 45 degrees down from each of the fuel pods. As you can see, it's chucking out a ton of light. Lights up the entire space centre. Yeah, that's what we call lots of light. So that test there tells us about a 300 metre range on the light. So let's go and play on the moon. So just doing a demonstration, slowly coming into the moon. Don't want to go too quick because we're doing a demonstration. But the point being, with these lights set up correctly, you should be able to suicide for the burn a little bit better, because the light starts showing up at about 300 meters from, well, the surface. So doing it in sort of a dusk time on the moon, and there we go, the light starts showing up there, and you can just go ahead and arrest your fall and then come down nice and slowly. So we're going to zoom out so you can see the wonderful pretty patterns that the lights make on the surface. And because of how the light falls on the surface, I can tell the height and whatnot. Shadows? Who needs shadows? And there you can see the patterns of lights, etc. So let's turn the lights off and get rid of the sun. Right click, delete. And there we go, it's pitch black. Turn the lights on and there it is. So we're in that crater there on the moon. At this point I'm sped up to 2 times speed, I think. And we are of course using unlimited fuel and unlimited RCS for demonstration purposes. So we've just done a quick alignment to go north. I'm going to go and fly sort of up that canyon bit. So as you can see, pitch black at the moment. Just so that you lose your reference to the ground, and there it is. That's what we call lighting things up. So taking it slowly at the moment, I'm just adjusting the engines. They're a bit too powerful for use on the moon. So let's go ahead and drift across the surface a bit. We're looking for the canyon. You have to go and fly up it. I have posted some interesting pictures somewhere on the KSP forums for some of the night flying that I did on, I think it was Mun and Mimas. Pretty patterns on Mimas. Nice green glows. Of course, you do have to turn your graphics settings up. Your particle light sources and particle shaders, I think it is, in the settings need to be turned up to the maximum to get the best sort of effect and views. But we're hovering quite nicely above the surface. The lights are just touching the ground. Yep, getting a bit close there. And you can see that the valley canyon, whatever you want to call it, that we're actually heading for. We'll just do a quick direction change to go and intercept it, and of course we go out of the range of the lights, which is fine as long as we don't come across a sheer wall. Otherwise we're going to miss the lights and our lives. There it is. I'm picking up speed going across the surface here, And if you get your throttle control just right, you can shoot across the surface pretty darn quickly, as I'm now going to demonstrate. Little blips on the throttle. And the interesting thing is, even though I've done this a few times on the Mun and Minmus is great, by the way, for doing this on. There's a lot less sheer walls on Minmus. And even though I've done this before, you still get a slight air of panic when you come to the crest of a hill, etc. And it's pitch black beyond the crest of the hill. As you'll see, there's a few of them coming up shortly. You just have to keep your nerve and just plough on. Practice makes perfect. Now, admittedly, this isn't as fast as the jet plane on Kerbal. It's way more exciting. One thing I'd love to know is whether you can see this thing skating across the surface from orbit. That'd be kind of cool to watch. So not very high above the surface at this point. Not entirely sure, I'd say, what, 20 metres? Maybe? 10? A little bit closer there. Now there is enough, at least on my preview, enough resolution to see upcoming mountains, so you know they're coming up. So it's not going to be a huge surprise. You can definitely see on this this iteration that the lights are making pretty patterns on the surface, and you can use those pretty patterns to sort of gauge where you are, height-wise at least anyway. So I'm going to do a slight course correction. Need me nav ball. So we want to fly north. We're following the canyon, but I'm going to show you the side of the canyon rather than dropping into it. It was quite spectacular trying to control this and not crash, and at the same time watching the side walls. Got quite quite a nice sight on it. Especially as we get sort of further up. As some of you will know, hopefully most of you will know by now, that on the Mun, if you go north, right up to sort of the North Polar region, so that's it, very spiky up there. That was the most fun. I've been told, I can't remember which video it was, my apologies, that there is something weird up at the North Pole in one of the canyony bits. I believe it's on Kerbal maps as well. So at some point I really want to go and take a look at it, if I can find it, of course. You know, as you can see, as we come over that one, it's pitch black right below us. And you can see that the hills go up the other side, and your immediate sort of gut feeling is to nail the throttle to get out of it. You don't need to. You have lights. You can still see the ground. Relax. So of course at this point I don't have the nav ball up. But don't really need it, because you're going off your height above the ground rather than your actual orientation, because your orientation is going to always be the same. You just need to correct it every now and again as you go around the Mun. It will drift out from being vertical in the terms of ground, but that's okay. And we shoot over this, and it drops off. Oh, uh-oh, no, we're in trouble. It's all gone black. Well, not really in trouble. It came back. As long as you don't go suicidal with your descent, in the terms of what your spacecraft is capable of getting out of, then you will be okay. So now we're starting to fly up the side walls. They'll get steeper as we go further up, but you can definitely tell that we're on a slope. And now we're very close to the slope. Oh, even closer there. A little bit too close for even my liking. I think I almost required a change of boxes. But as you can just about make out with the hills in the distance, we are travelling up the side of the canyon. If you look just above the top of the whatever the hell you want to call this thing, and to the right, you can actually see the canyon itself as it goes through the horizon, or makes the horizon, whichever you want to call it. But anyway, we're zipping across the side here, lighting up pretty much a big area, I'd imagine, but we're kind of concentrating. As the side walls get steeper, of course the patterns from the lights change on the surface, so you have to bear that in mind. Yeah, okay, that was kind of obvious, but still. I mean, we must be at what? Way over 45 degrees, so what? 50, something like that at the moment. Yeah, let's have a look into the black abyss. And you can of course go faster than this. I'm just having a trundle up here for demonstration purposes. What speed you go at is up to you, how you build your craft, etc. As you get used to doing this, of course you're going to want to go faster and faster and faster. Hell, thanks to 23.5, thank you squad, you can now use coloured lights, so there's no reason really why you can't have, say, 4 colours of lights that are pointing into a central dot, well, 3 or 4 coloured lights, so that way you'd know precisely what your altitude is. So as you can see, my nose has drifted slightly off from vertical, so we're just going to correct that. Yeah, somewhere about there will be. And then get rid of the nav bulb. Get rid of it. Why? Because it's in the way. So I'm going to go ahead, zip up here a bit, see how far north we can get, and why not? Yeah, that's the bit where you'd normally get quite scared and go, oh my god, it's an abyss below me. Well, not really. You've got the lights, remember. Anything comes within 300 metres of that craft starts to get illuminated. And with the capabilities of that craft, at the speed that we're going at, we can easily avoid anything. I mean, while I'm flying this, my left hand is mainly on the throttles. But it wouldn't take much for me to hold down throttle up and adjust the rotation of my craft if it was an emergency. Now of course we're starting to get into a bit more rough stuff, as you can tell by the summits that we're passing. One thing that I am tempted to do if I'm going to do a lot more night flying is to see if I can make a light that has a much narrower beam and a much bigger range. So at the moment it's kind of limited to like 300 metres. Would like something a little bit longer range than that. It would make it easier. So I'm not sure if that's possible or whether that's a sort of hard-coded limit in the game. I mean, hell. Whee! It's all gone black. Hell, it would be wonderful to drop some marker beacons on, like, all over the Mun, and without taking too much time, of course, turn the Mun from sort of a grey-white into, say, red or purple. Screw it, turn it pink. Come on, you know you want to do it. You know you want to drop a ton of markers on the Mun with lights on and turn it pink. could call it strawberry flavoured ice cream. Although technically strawberry flavoured is kind of red. Eh? Strawberry and cream then. Yeah, red and white. Strawberries and cream. What? Mimus has got a nice ice cream theme to it. So why not the Mun? Anyone get scared then? Yeah, that was a little bit close for even sort of my liking. So we're going to do a slight course correction here. We burned way too much, went way too high. It's going to take us ages to come back down. So flip it upside down, burn downwards, and just sort of come down quite nicely. Except that's kind of not what's going to happen. Yeah. Turn Windows Update off from notifying you that there's something available to download. Otherwise it'll multitask you out of the game and you will slam into the ground. Anyway, I hope people have found this useful. I'm CW, and use lights so that you don't crash hard at night. Bye for now.